you all rowdied up, Kyle.
Oh, it don't take much. It don't take much. There's gonna be so much agreement, and I can't wait for it.
Welcome to Cognitive Vigilance. Cognitive Vigil. I don't even know what words are. Welcome to Cognitive Vigilance Podcast. I am here with Kyle, Rin, and Meredith. Meredith works in family law. Can you give us a little spiel about that?
Yeah, I am an attorney, and I do family law in California encompasses divorce, child custody, establishing parentage, domestic violence, stuff like that. It doesn't include wills and trusts, but unless it's in the process of a divorce. But that is what encompasses family law out here.
Awesome.
I primarily do divorces.
Okay. That sounds shitty. Do you want to get married? Like in the future? Like, are you pro-marriage? Are you like James Sexton, who's like, I hate marriage?
No,
You know what's funny? James is still pretty idealistic about it when you actually listen to him.
Not.
Yeah, he is, because he even says, what you win if you get married is so great that I don't blame anybody for buying a ticket.
Except he says he's never going to do it again.
Well, yeah,
he's been divorced, so
yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, he's still pretty idealistic in my opinion about it.
We never gave Meredith a chance to answer, though. Meredith, how do you
yeah,
feel
no,
about
I'm sorry.
I'm not for or against. I'm definitely not against it. Like, no problem. I don't know if it's right for me personally, but I think it's wonderful. My parents have been together for 40 years now, so I have a good role model in that respect.
Yeah. So has like working in that field like really affected your perspective at all, or not really?
Well, it is interesting because when I see people, it's hard to realize that these people at one point loved each other a lot of times because they're so contentious, and it's both of them. And they will, honest to God, look you in your face and say, Meredith, I swear to God, I'm not doing this out of like vindictiveness. I'm not trying to, but they are. There's no other reason they would be. And it's just interesting how the perception is warped by emotions. And this is, to get into it right away, I was actually telling, because a male friend of mine had called me on Sunday asking me just for a little bit of an outline, because he's about to start a process. It wasn't legal advice, just like kind of what he can expect. And I was, right before he called, I was on the phone with a male client of mine. And I was telling my friend after that like sometimes the men in a weird way are worse because they come in with this expectation that they're getting fucked over. So even when they're not, they're like, what's the catch? I know I'm getting fucked over. Where am I getting fucked over? I'm getting fucked over. And it's like, no, you guys, I wouldn't be telling you to do this if it was fucking you over. So there's a lot of like trying to win weird shit that goes on both sides. And I've represented them all.
So today I kind of wanted to talk about the Mary Harrington little article that she wrote about Lauren Southern and her experience, how my trad life turned toxic. The online ideology doesn't work in the real world. And I'm going to play a little clip to kind of give people like up to speed if they haven't read the article. I thought the article was pretty good. I thought it was worth the read, but
Reading on a podcast might be a little tenuous.
Yeah, I figured I'll just do a.
I missed you guys.
Yeah, no, Rin, I always miss you. Brandy, not so much, but Rin, always.
Liar.
We don't got any volume.
No audio.
No audio. Why?
Only magic.
I think you have it canceled. Make sure. I can hear him. It's just very faint.
Why is it so quiet?
Turn that up the whole
there
way.
we go. Here we go. Redo.
We're doing great.
No, I still don't hear it.
You still don't hear it at all?
No, I don't.
I don't hear it.
Yeah, make sure you hit maybe cancel it out and see if you can go back in, and then hit enable audio for that tab. Whenever you do the screen, like when you do the share screen down in the where you hit present, make sure that like when the tab pops out on the top part of the browser that you hit allow audio.
Yeah, it says that. Also share audio, tab audio.
Yeah. Let's try it again.
That's so weird. I don't know. I think it could be just that this particular video is like kind of quiet.
To the precipice of
Okay, there we go. I
Here
can hear
now.
it now.
Okay.
you may remember as a far-right activist and media personality back around 2017, 2018. Southern Poverty Law Center said that she tiptoes to the precipice of outright white nationalism. And then in 2019, Southern decided to effectively retire from that media and activism, getting married, having some kids, and moving to Australia to become a trad wife. The big news this week, though, is that Southern has left Australia, her husband has left her, and she has left the toxic trad life, which she describes in this interview with Unheard as a living hell, one characterized by abuse that has led her to living hand to mouth in a cabin in the woods back in Canada. She characterizes the binary complementary sex roles in trad life as rigid and wildly oversimplified, thus woefully ill-equipped for real life. She comes down particularly hard on her ex, noting that he seemed to be much more interested in her when she was the world-traveling boss babe that he was trying to rein in, and he was much less interested when he caught her. But she also doesn't think that he is unique here, adding that the sort of men drawn to trad life seem less interested in the life than they are in the power that it affords them over women. And if there's one line that you're likely to see quoted in every story about Southern that's written for the next few years, she adds that trad life was the closest thing to a modern day Western slave. And I highly suspect that this is not the last time you're
That's dumb.
prominent trad
Yeah.
to trad life come forward and admit that the whole thing was a bad idea.
So, it's kind of funny because I know Meredith and I have had quite a few back and forths about this. And I think her and I both kind of gained ground when it came to our dialogue in this respect, because I think the line that I gave Meredith that kind of opened her mind a little bit more to the way that I thought about things is that, like, when you quit being a wife, you should no longer get compensated for being a wife. And then in respect to her, she had mentioned how there are some cases where wives are being required to pay alimony. And then also kind of like over time, when you kind of look at this, trad idealism that we're being exposed to now, because the alt media is basically just trying to reflect the exact opposite of what they perceive popular culture is saying, which popular culture, according to a lot of like the right wing's perception, is pushing degeneracy and all this stuff. And not that it isn't, but like there's a balance here, right? Like there's more than one message coming from mainstream media. But like, basically the idea is that everybody wants to be trad now because that's the cool thing to be. But the thing I kind of talk to a lot of like younger guys about is that like the women you meet today likely don't want to be trad wives, and like you're not going to be the kind of guy that can afford that trad wife lifestyle. And then let's say something happens and she decides to leave. You already know that like the majority of court cases are going to go in the direction for women. So when the divorce kind of happens, you can't exactly be surprised that you've disabled a woman for years and years of her life, and then now she has no workplace of no marketability to the workplace. You can't exactly be surprised when she says, hey, well, I need something to keep me afloat here. I don't agree with it, but you can't exactly be surprised that you've made her non-marketable to the job marketplace. So I'm sorry to go on a long tirade, but I want to make sure that I got that in there.
I want to. So, Meredith, you could maybe correct me here, but I don't know if it's accurate that a woman, like, if there's kids and if she is a trad wife, aka she isn't in the workforce, and he is wholly supporting her, then he will have to give her money. But I'm pretty sure that if both are working, in a lot of states, you don't have to. Like, the guy doesn't have to give the girl money if she has a job and is also financially supporting. Like if they're both equal partners.
I can't speak to every state's laws. I can tell you what goes on in California, which is assuming they're both working. So there's two different types of spousal support in California. We call it spousal support, not alimony. Spousal support is, so there's temporary spousal support, which is for the duration of while a divorce is pending. That is particularly to keep the parties as close to the marital standard of living as possible, with the expectation there's going to be a drop off because there's going to be two split households, but as close to equal as possible during that time. Then there's post-judgment support. Permanent support is what it's actually called, but it's rarely permanent. And that is, so the temporary support is calculated through a computer program. The permanent support is based on an analysis of 14 to 15 different factors, none of which give you a math problem, by the way. So it's actually really funny to try to come up with a number, but where they do analyze many different things, such as if one person deferred their career opportunities to take on more domestic duties for the purpose of the other person being able to advance in their career, history of domestic violence, documented, it has to be documented history to a degree, age, earning capacity, health, things like that. And then we'll actually look at, so if you're making 90,000 and I'm making 150, you're probably going to get temporary support, but you might not get permanent or post-judgment support. If I'm making 250 and you're making 90, you're probably going to get both. So there is a little bit of that comes into play, but what the goal in California is stated to be is that you become self-supported in a reasonable amount of time. The point is not to go on forever. The ones that do go on forever are the ones where it is the 70-year-olds who got married at 20 and the wife stayed home and never worked a day in her life, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the kind of the trad life situation. And I actually wanted to play one more video of everyone's favorite trad wife. She's very hot.
Is this the Marilyn Monroe one?
Rin, do you have anything to add?
So
yeah.
I'm trying to wrap my head around, like, is it contentious? Like, so Kyle, you were saying that you don't agree with the idea that like the money should be awarded, but you don't begrudge, people asking for it. But like, is that like, I assume you have no problem with like prenups or things like that, or, like, to me, I get curious when people are surprised. Like, I don't know how, like, it's not like this is a new concept we introduced into the law.
Well,
like,
that's kind of what I try to get at towards the end there, is that basically, like, a lot of guys are like, holy shit, she's taking me for everything I got. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, that courts will generally bias towards women, and especially if you put them in
is that true, Meredith?
It's not.
So why do a majority of alimony cases go to women?
Because they're the lower earner.
Okay, but that's my point, is that because of that, it's.
But if they were the higher earner, they wouldn't.
Okay, but then once again,
the way you figure it out is if you control for the variables, what happens.
So if you were dating a boss babe, if all of these trad dudes were dating boss babes, girls that made more money than them, they wouldn't have to worry about those girls taking their money because they make their own.
Those girls would have to worry about those fucking.
Yeah, those girls would have to worry about.
But I mean, we're talking, we're literally talking about less than 10% of overall alimony cases.
So I mean,
well, also most people don't get it. Also, I will get that out there right now. A lot.
Okay.
I mean, I could just go on and on about this, but I have a lot of cases where nobody gets it. So
yeah, I mean, to me, when people are upset about the, whatever flavor of payment and whatever direction it's going, it's because it's ignorance about a business contract, right? Like, yeah, if they got married young, like, I think that's kind of predatory. Like, maybe, like, we shouldn't be encouraging teenagers to be getting, shackled for things that will have consequences later in life. But to me,
consent.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I'm not, as somebody who like encourages people to get married for very specific reasons and not to get, like, I look at long-term love and romance as a stronger thing without marriage, because I basically view marriage as a legal paperwork that like helps you with a couple of things, or a barrier to exit. And you're like, I'd like to make it harder to break up with you. And that's basically what you're doing when you get married. Like, none of the other things that come with marriage outside of religious context and like the sacrament that it is in certain, like, like church context, it doesn't make you love a person anymore. To me, it makes it harder to logistically separate, which can be a sign of, like, you're like, I'd like to make it really hard to break up with you. Get married. If you want to show the world that you love somebody and you're committed to them, stay with them for the rest of your life. I don't know how, like, why do we need to bring a contract into it?
I think it makes sense when you have kids.
I agree. So
I think that's when it makes sense.
Right, but there are ways. You can do specific contracts for, like, things to handle those aspects. But I agree.
If you have kids, it's more complicated. than that.
I agree. I agree.
It's
there are
easier
tax
to just
reasons,
get
there's
married.
insurance reasons, there's kids
Yes.
reasons.
Yeah.
Those are all valid reasons. But most of the time people get married first, then have the kids, not the other way around.
Yeah. That would be smart. Yeah, I think that a lot of like, yeah, there is something to be said about that. But I wanted to show something because in regards to like prenups and also just like women working, because I do see a lot of this stuff on Twitter where people were I don't even know, like everyone just being like women shouldn't work. And this particular trad wife, who I find her kind of endearing.
Is it because
Though
she's
I
hot?
think she is
I
hot.
love her. She's so hot.
She is hot, but I do think like she's a little retarded, but it's fine. Like
She's retarded, but she is so like hot.
mhm.
I'm not seeing it.
Ooh.
You have to see her rack.
Okay. All right. I'll I'll hold out for that.
So while we're waiting for the audio sorting, Meredith, do you think people
Wait,
like,
do you guys can you guys not hear it?
No
No.
audio.
What? Oh
Do
my
you
god.
Meredith, would you advocate for people to like hold off on marriage? Would you, as a divorce lawyer, do you think that like, how would you try to fix marriage stats in the US or in California?
Oh, geez.
Oh, here we go.
We're not off to a good start.
No, I mean, I don't know that I have the answer to that. I've seen literally nobody can surprise me at this point with all the cases I've seen. I can't tell you who's more likely to get divorced. I can't.
So you think
I
women would be more?
Harvard Law School?
Oh, here we go.
Sorry, guys. Continue, Meredith.
Oh yeah, I haven't. I can't tell you anything like that. The only thing I could think is nobody should get married or have children because their biological clock is ticking. That is the one thing I can say for sure. Adopt or get a surrogate or do whatever later in life if you absolutely need that. But the pain of the custody and all of that, the divorce and everything that comes with it is way too great to jump into something with somebody for that reason. In my personal opinion, people can say all the time, like, you don't understand how important children are. And the people who I've done divorces and stuff for who were in that situation will say, "But I love my son more than I hate the dad," or whatever. Fine, that's true. But they're always like, it's a 40-year-old woman who was doing fertility treatments and then met a younger guy or something, knocked up immediately. And then, they predictably, affairs and blah,
So you
blah,
think
blah.
women?
Harvard Law School?
God damn
Okay,
it.
thanks. Yeah.
So yeah, I would just say nobody. That's the one thing. Like whenever I find myself getting squirrely about my age, I'm always like, hey, who cares? I'm never gonna make that mistake.
Yeah. I think that there's a lot of like, well, you don't want kids, right?
I go back and forth. I don't know what I want. I'm stupid.
Yeah. I mean, just just like don't use protection and then just like let the gods handle it.
Pull the goalie.
Yeah, so this I'll play this
Three.
again.
But that's a top 3 school.
Oh, I have a 4.0.
Yes. But your major is fashion merchandising. Harvard won't be impressed that you aced history of polka dots. What are your backups?
I don't need backups. I'm going to Harvard.
So you think?
So it's
Harvard
all
Law
about how she doesn't need a job or anything like that because she trusts her husband. And I think it's very similar to like this argument about that girls have in regards to like why they shouldn't have to sign a prenup. Because it's like, you should trust me. I'm your wife. You should trust me. You don't need a backup. You don't need a job. And I kind of see them as the same. Like in a way, like the girl having the job, it's her backup. It's her way to make sure that she is financially okay if something does happen. And a prenup is a similar situation on the guy's end, making sure that it's all set. I feel like I see like the similarities, and it seems like
Yeah.
trad people are against both.
I
They're against
actually
the prenups, and they're against the
Yeah.
girls having jobs.
I
But they're
think
also
that's
against
actually
divorce,
yeah.
right?
I think that's reasonable, actually, to make a comparison between the two. I guess the only pushback I'd really offer is just that in a divorce situation, you know, a guy could get left out to dry, and to be fair to Meredith, that a woman could get left out to dry too. Where once again, when you quit your job as a husband or as a wife, then you still maintain the social, or I should say the social status, but the financial status, but you don't have to do any of the duties that's expected of you as a wife or as a husband. But you're still
Can I make
getting
a point
paid
about
as
this though?
such.
Because and this is something, by the way, my background's fake if anybody hasn't figured it out yet. I just looked at my hand and it's like and I find this a lot in again, it could be the retards from the RP, the red pill, but it could, you know, I don't know, because you guys hate when I say the red pill and it's like, wow, it's not my red pill, whatever. I don't know who the people are who say who freak out about the women initiating divorce. And filing the paperwork doesn't equal causing the divorce. So if you cheat on me relentlessly, come back and give me herpes, and then I divorce you, are you telling me I quit my job? Yeah. But did you force me out? Kind of. Because I'll tell you right now, there is a lot of men out there who are fully happy to have the wife and cheat on her all the time, and they would just rather stay married but still cheat on them. Like, they're happy with that arrangement. And I think more people need to understand things like that than and also, by the way, there's a guy named Actual Justice Warrior on YouTube. He did he better than I ever could did this amazing breakdown of how that 70% number is actually bullshit. And he like went back and looked at the data into how they got that, and it's like completely wrong.
James Sexton would disagree with you, because he says that, okay, so like first marriages, I think, are about 40%, but when you get the 56% number, that's including all people who are married, period. So I mean, even like the first,
I'm
second,
talking about the
third,
initiation, not the numbers
Sure.
of divorce.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't even remember. I just remember when I was listening, I was like, oh, I need to look into this, and then I never did. So that's my bad. But again, filing the paperwork first doesn't mean really anything. There's no I saw somebody saying the other day that there was like there's some sort of benefit conferred on you by filing first. It's not true. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that. But I just really, that's when I hear it, because it's like those buttons that you push and there's only a few phrases that they say. It's like the fucking idiots on Twitter on the red pill will just like bonk this. Men are worried about the women's past. Women are worried about the future. Like, that's the kind of shit that they just repeat, the 70%. And it's just like, I want to strangle you, because
anybody saying that, anybody that's saying that really anybody is blameless in a divorce is a retard, because there's always going to be faults on each side, and generally people are going to err in the way that makes themselves look better. So when a divorce happens, they're typically say, oh, well, you know, my wife did this, my wife did that, but they're going to leave out the fact that, like, hey, maybe I got fat, maybe I wasn't, you know, always the most pleasant person to be around, or things along those lines. Once again, people are going to generally skirt accountability on their own part, because they want to tell people the story that they would like to tell.
Do you think cheating is acceptable if someone gets fat? I'm just wondering, do you think that it's like okay if someone gets fat, cheating is? He's thinking about it.
So no. Well, I mean, so like if you're in a situation and you were like. There was a woman, and I think I quote tweeted it, and I said, like, the reason why a lot of guys watch porn or stop sleeping with their wives is because their wives become fat cunts. It was something along those lines. And, like, it's the truth, though. Like, if your wife is the most unpleasant person to be around, she's not having sex with you, which generally is kind of like the arrangement, like, hey, we're getting married because, like, I like having sex with you, I like you as my wife, then you can't exactly be surprised when the dude eventually says, all right, well, fuck it, I'm fucking done trying to be monogamous because my wife isn't sleeping with me anymore.
Well, here's the thing.
I'm not justifying this. I'm not.
No, but I agree with you, Kyle. But
cunt,
is he saying that, or is he just doing it, Kyle?
Once again, because there's accountability all the way around, but you can't be surprised because guys have a sex drive no matter what.
I would never be mad at somebody in a scenario where they're like, hey, like, the way that our life has moved is this. I would like to either take steps to correct it, and then if you're like, I don't think that you're participating in the corrective action, here are my steps. I'm gonna go find it elsewhere. But that honesty is what makes it different for me, right? If somebody
Yes.
has, because cheating is basically you have that conversation, but you don't let the other person know.
Yeah, you broke the trust.
Right. Whereas if somebody's like, listen, like this isn't working for me, I'm going to make changes. If you don't want to do them with me, then, you know, whatever. Fair game. If you're just like, oh, you know, I love you every day, but I don't give you affection in any other way, and then I go fucking, you know, to the rub and tugs down the street every night. That's you know, it's a harder sell. Whereas if you're like, I've had conversations, I've done couples therapy, I've tried every step of the
honest
way.
Work. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Right. So like, you know, if you're a dude and nobody wants to fuck you, then clearly the problem is you. But like, if other people want to fuck you and your wife doesn't want to fuck you, then there's a problem. And I'm not saying that the problem is her problem or that it's solely the guy's problem, but there's clearly a problem there somewhere.
But
right?
you're taking her getting fat and her not having sex with you as if they're the same thing.
Yeah.
What if she still wants to have sex with you, but she's fat?
Okay, I mean, if you reject her, then okay, then that's on you, right?
But what if you're no longer attracted to her because she's fat?
Oh, okay.
Is it
So
still
in my
okay
opinion,
for you to cheat?
In my opinion, there's a little bit of a difference here. So like, if she's working to get rid of some weight, okay, but like if she's just a miserable fat cunt, I mean, at a certain
What if she's
point,
not miserable?
But she's
What
an
if she's
animal.
happy?
But what if she's an animal in the sack?
Lady.
Yeah.
Okay, well then, if you choose to stop, you choose to stop. I mean, I'm not here to police other people's actions in their marriage.
But here's the thing though, that sounds to me like you're backing out of your vows. Like if they're like, I'm eager, right? I'm fucking down. I will fucking rock your world. You know, just mind your hips.
With my fat.
Yeah, exactly. They're gonna put some weight in that shit.
I think Gavin McInnes says it's like you can grab anything and it's like another breast.
Love handles, they call them, right?
Wait, hold on. Can I say one thing? Is that I have been doing this for 10 years. I have never, and this is anecdotes, but I have never had a divorce case where it's been like an eat, pray, love thing. Where like, I just want to go find myself. Yeah, never. It's first of all, everybody's devastated. There's been multiple attempts at reconciliation and everyone's working on it. Nobody is happier. Actually, I've seen some men be happier even after getting cleaned out financially because whatever, but I've never seen somebody be like, yes, this is so much better for me to do this than, it's always a last resort. From what I have seen, I know there's people who go on Fresh and Fit who say it's all fucking eat, pray, love, whatever. But I've never seen it.
I think the eat, pray, love stuff is kind of overplayed. Like, yeah,
wait, elaborate on eat, pray, love. I don't follow.
Basically, it's the idea that like, well, I've
never seen it, but I know.
But I think that the perspective basically is that like a woman is going to want to go after a younger dude and go, sow her wild oats because there's the hot guy in the foam cannon party in Cancun or whatever, right? That's the same.
That happened in that movie?
No, it's not even that. I think it's she wants to go find herself or something.
Yes,
sure.
It's like she like
go
wants
do
to go
yoga
find
in
herself.
India.
She's
all
just
that
like
weird shit.
needs to go and like break
find
up
yourself
with
at the
her.
bottle of the bottle and on top of a 23-year-old dude.
It's like, I've never
Kyle,
met a girl that has done that and I have I'm in a sorority, lots of women. I don't think I've met one girl that was married that like
married. Okay,
that's what I mean.
I
that
also
was
know
married and like left.
I know people who have found happiness
for
that
those
way,
reasons.
married.
Like because they just wanted to like I know girls that were unhappy and got a divorce, but usually there was cheating involved or something else, but there has been some cases where just the girl was unhappy, but not like she wants to find herself.
Can I say another funny thing is that currently in my life, the people who are living the most traditional lifestyles, but they don't think of it as being trad life, but who just happen to fall into this are my most liberal feminist friends. And that's why I think it's funny about the woman who wrote the article about Lauren Southern is that she sort of talked about it in the beginning. I don't know her history. It seemed like maybe she had some sort of political awakening as well.
Mary Harrington?
Yes. I don't know anything about her.
Oh, so I've watched a lot of videos of her. She's kind of, Louise Perry?
Yeah.
She's of the similar type.
Okay.
Was at one point a leftist and now is kind of moving towards this trad femme thing. But like, it seems like Mary Harrington is, I don't know. She seems relatively what would be reasonable. I don't know. And Louise Perry does too sometimes, but I do think that they get like they both kind of go down this like the anti-feminist mindset, right? Which was very easy to go down because there is a lot of bad things that feminism has done. But like, I think that was kind of one point that I got from the Lauren Southern article is that there is some value, right? She was like this big anti-feminist influencer. That was one aspect of what she really promoted as a person. And it all kind of bit her in the ass in the end. And like, there's a reason feminism exists. We can be pissed about what it's become and we can be mad about it, and that's fine. I disagree with a lot of things in regards to third wave feminism too, but like, we also just need to be like, there was a reason why it happened in the first place. And thinking that we can kind of take a time machine and go into the past and it's all going to be better doesn't work, because these things happened because it sucked, because there were things that weren't going
There was
well.
only a very short amount of time where this whole 1950s aesthetic trad wife was actually a thing.
Yeah.
If you go back further, there's women were factory workers on the farm, you know, all that shit. So this, like, the 1950s thing, I mean, it's more than one decade, but it's like one decade essentially in the grand scheme of things.
And yeah, and then and they were all miserable, which is why the feminine mystique was created. And maybe not everyone was miserable.
I was ever going to be a trad wife, I'd be that farm bitch. That sounds like fun to me.
So
Here.
I think Kyle is frozen. Oh no, you're not.
He's not.
You were just standing. Dude, you were just
Taking it all
sitting
in.
really.
Taking it
You were
all
sitting
in.
so still. I've never seen someone sit that still.
Believe me, it takes work.
I can't. I constantly fidget.
One thing I wanted to talk about that was mentioned in that article was that she said that her husband was more attracted to her and was nicer to her when she was a boss bitch, when she was an influencer, when she did all these things. And a lot of guys are like, no.
I mean, if he's a narcissist, I think that tracks. I don't know from the article. I don't know anything about this person.
So Lauren Southern is also kind of the person who plays a perpetual victim. And if you've listened to her story, every single person that she spent significant amounts of time with throughout her life just always seemed to fuck her over in the end. And when people constantly like just seem to always end up getting fucked over time and time again, eventually you realize it's probably not the whole world out to get
At some
them.
point there's a common denominator.
Exactly.
But
And she's
also,
the common denominator in a lot of these.
But I agree with Rin that if he's a narcissist, that's definitely a thing. But we don't know that. And also, I think a lot of men like you more when you're a girlfriend versus a wife. That's why I never wanted to get married when I was younger, because I was like, wife, ew, that sounds so dowdy and gross. I want to be a girlfriend. They're fun.
Well, I also think men are attracted to women that do have aspirations, and they can pretend that they aren't, but I think that they are attracted to those things. Like I actually, and this is like how men see women's career. Is this Fresh and Fit? I don't even know. I see.
Yeah, it was Fresh and Fit with Elijah Schaefer.
Yeah. So let's watch this and then we'll discuss.
Look, I have a son. You know what kids are like. You're probably good with kids. You're a lady. Here's the deal. A kid will walk up to you. He'll take a little bit of his boogers, some water he took from his juice cup, some fucking wooden sticks in a cup, and he'll hand it to you. And he thinks he made you a meal. And he's really proud, and he hands it to you, and he goes, look, Mom, I made you something. Now, you're smart because you're an adult. You're a woman. You go, that's fucking boogers and sticks and shit. Because why? Because your position, your authority as his mother, you know, at his education, his mental capacity, that you know better than him. You know, you still take it and go, oh, it's so cute. You're not grateful for it. You're not going to eat it. You know what's up. That's how men see women's careers and their money. Okay? Women present to men like, look at my job and my career, and it's a cup of shit and sticks. And we say, how cute, and we're nice to you. We're nice to you, but we don't care. And we can argue it. You can argue it, but it's reality.
He is more right than he is wrong.
Okay, all right. No,
I would love to date a man who looks at my career like that. Oh my God, I would love that.
I will. All right. I'm not saying that guys care if you're like successful in your career. But I also think that women become successful in their careers not for men. I think, and that's something that I think that men don't fully understand, because a lot of men do go for goals almost because they want to become more attracted to women. I actually think a lot of women don't pursue career because they want to be more attractive to men. Like, they would do other things to be more attractive to men. I don't think that's the point of why you try to become successful in your career. But
I'll push back on that a little bit. I think it's an option for men, and some men will be like, I need to be more successful because I'm not that good with girls, and if I'm more successful financially,
Yeah.
I'll be better with girls.
They're
And
trying to max out one of their three
there.
things.
But
Yeah.
the option doesn't work as well. Like women being more financially successful doesn't like open up more options for them in the same way that it does for men.
Yes.
So I just don't think like, so when women do like, because there's tons of men who are like, I want power, I want fucking money, you know, like, and like women are like almost like a secondary thing to that, because it's just ambition. Like you see them chasing those dollar bills every year, and it's like almost that's their personality.
But I do know a lot of guys that work in like that kind of like grindy type jobs, and a lot of them do it because of like this. It's like status. They're attracted to this concept of status, and that concept of status gets them women. Like it kind of does always land in the fact that they're trying to get laid,
right? But it's a big
girl.
You know, it's a bigger thing though, right? And then because women who are like chasing, to me that's just ambition, right? Women who are like, I'm fucking on that career ladder. It's ambition. Men can have it, and women can have it, but men can also have. I'm not really ambitious, but I should probably get that better fucking job so I can get laid.
So like, I feel like some dudes also do it because they realize like this is them, what they feel their sole purpose is to do. So like, I mean, I've worked with enough guys now to watch them fucking grind their fingers to the bone every second of the fucking day when it comes to working on cars. And like, it's because they know like this is what they're good at. This is their life's fucking duty, and they're gonna fucking do that till the end of time. And I don't necessarily think it's because like they want to attract women, but I think they're like that's almost like a primal motivation, but like their mindset is that like, oh, I just need to fucking go, because you know a lot of guys have that's their axe to grind, right? You know, whereas like more like I enjoy fixing cars, but like my main axe to grind is like either playing music or lifting weights. Like I'd much rather do that, but I understand that like in order for me to do those things and enjoy those things and make money to pay for those things, I have to go work on cars.
I actually bet that those men that have like a serious passion, that are very passionate about something, are attracted to women that also are very passionate about something like that. I think that, and I do think that that passion that a woman has about a job or something, like whatever it is, like that is attractive to a certain type of man. It's not going to be attracted to this fucking guy, Elijah Schaffer, you know, but like it is attracted to a certain type of men that are also very passionate, you know, like people that like go into that flow state type of thing, and they both are passionate type of people. But
I think you're full of shit. I'm sorry.
I know Kyle's gonna say, and one of his friends commented on one of the things.
Yeah, it's
like,
okay.
I've had many guys tell me that my being an attorney and being smart and driven is attractive to them. I'm not saying it's what gives them a boner.
Sure.
But although I will say that I've had guys hear me in lawyer mode and be like, that turned me on. I don't know why. But I've never had a guy say, actually, I did have a guy say one time that you're a boss babe, that's not right for me, but he was a red pill guy.
Yeah. But that's the thing, is that like, I'm not saying that every guy is going to find that attractive, but I do think, okay, in regards to Lauren Southern, he was attracted to her when she was that. When she was the boss babe, he liked her. He was into her, right? And then she stopped doing all those things, and he stopped treating her as well. You know,
supposedly.
like
but it's hard.
We're getting
to
one
tell
side of the
what,
story too.
Okay, can we just pretend that what she said was true for the sake of the podcast? Okay.
Accepting that that's true, I guess, but I don't know. I just have a problem that there's so many other variables that could go into it, because let's say that you're not the boss babe anymore, and you're just mommy. And this is what a lot of women I've seen this happen to, is that they become mom to a baby, and they start to become mom to their husband, but not in the fun, like, ooh, you want dinner? Wait, it's more like, you need to do this, then, like very like
Naggy.
like Brunhilde of the house.
Naggy.
Like,
so I can talk to this because I have different flavors of those relationships happening simultaneously, right? Like I have a partner who I've been with for over 6 years. We live together, and the relationship has evolved in a very kind of like traditional moving up the ladder kind of way. No kids, but still those kinds of things. And then I have like a girlfriend or somebody who, you know what I mean? Like a different kinds of things. And to me, the thing that really like drives it in is when you're boyfriend and girlfriend and not living together, you're not doing chores together. You don't have like the little shit that isn't fun.
Right.
And when the ratio in a relationship tips towards the unfun stuff, resentment starts to build. You're just not having a good time anymore. That's what people talk about. Like, it takes work. It's like you have to fucking, communicate. And I know the red pill doesn't love communication, but that's a really good way to avoid those things. It's, like to figure it out. Like how do you navigate those things? And I think that relationships where people like the boss bitch flying around gives people time to decompress. When you're trad, it's like, if there's one person working and they go to work and it's stressful and then they come home and then there's more stress at home, there's no fun there. So going on vacation, like people, like I think it's like an old like couples recommendation is like take vacations separately, like detox from each other, and then you come back really fresh. It's a weird concept because it's like a waste of money or like things like that. But I think having time away from each other when that resentment starts to build or the ratio of fun to unfun is getting out of balance. People just don't do it though. It's very counterculture.
I don't think the traditionally minded people go home and feel like they're being stressed generally, at least. And like, as far as like,
well, so that's what I'm saying. So if you're coming home from work, right, and you're not stressed, but you have kids, likely the other person is very stressed because, right? So if you're having if you have kids or you have shared responsibility, I think once you get like that's that ambition that drives us to do things. But the nuclear family is not really well equipped to handle these big life tasks and challenges, right?
It seemed like such a waste of time.
That's, I think, you and I are going to agree on that, Meredith, but
wait, Brian, do you agree with Kyle? I feel like you probably don't, in regards to the fact that you don't like that men aren't attracted to like passion, like women that are passionate about something.
That's an interesting one. So as somebody who is like, I like when people are passionate and kind of like have their thing. I will say it doesn't usually, to me, it doesn't matter what the thing is. So I don't know if that's what you mean, Kyle. Like, you're like, I don't care what you do.
I'm not saying specifically what it is, but like that are passionate. And usually like that's in regards to like.
I just don't understand what a person would be without that. Like, what would a person who doesn't have passion
look like? Would say that like the one thing that a woman is supposed to be passionate about is to be passionate about being a wife and a mother.
Yeah.
And about being a mother, which I'm going to tell you right now, that is just like, it's not enough. I know it might be for some people, but for a lot of people, it's not enough.
Kyle, in Red Pill, are fathers expected to be passionate about being a father?
I mean, well, Red Pill, when it comes to the overall, it doesn't necessarily deal with.
Well, all right. So wherever the trad is. So in a relationship where a woman is expected to be passionate about being a mother, is the father expected to be passionate about being a father?
We would be talking more about traditional conservatism, which
but then listen to them bitch about not getting custody when they never fucking acted like a father the whole time.
But so is a father expected to be passionate about being a father?
Of course. I mean, I would think that anybody who has kids, generally you didn't do it just because like, well, it's time to have kids. No, it's generally because like, no,
I think a lot of people do that.
Are they then
they're probably, but like more traditionally minded people generally go into having kids like this is going to be the biggest thing in my life. And that's kind of the perspective that I have. And maybe that makes me an idealist, but it is what it is. I think a lot more of the traditionally minded people would like look at kids as like a very, very great achievement. And I don't know, in my opinion, I do think having a family and having a legacy and people that you love and, you kind of put out in the world to make the world a better place is probably the most important thing that you're going to do. Like the fact that I fix cars, the fact that my wife's an EMT. I do love the fact that my wife enjoys her job. Like she's declined jobs that pay better because she actually likes being an EMT. That doesn't get my dick hard. I'm happy for her about it.
I feel like you've bragged about your wife before. I feel like you're proud of her
because she's awesome.
Exactly. But I mean, you might not know. Like it might be subconscious. But I think that these are things that it's not saying that it gives me a boner. But I think these are aspects of her that you are attracted to her. You're attracted to that aspect.
Would you be as into her if she like worked the front desk at a tanning salon?
If she enjoyed it, then I mean, yeah. I mean, I love her for her personality.
But
no, but I mean, she once again, it's her character. like in who she is, right?
And
It's not
part of
necessarily
her
the job.
character is what drove her to that type of career. I'm assuming.
Okay, but it's not the career.
No, but that's
course,
the
but
correlation.
character
though.
is it's a
The
logical
corollaries, yeah.
extension of the character, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it is correlated. Like the correlation between like why any of us choose like what we do, right,
Sure.
is usually correlated to our personality, your character traits, and all of these things. So, like, yes, that's why you are attracted to her. And like a lot of guys would be like, "Oh, well, I would just date like a girl that works at McDonald's." This is all bullshit. I don't believe it's true.
I mean, I think if the guy genuinely liked the woman's character who worked at McDonald's, she would. But I mean, at the same time, there are more and more guys today. Like as we move further and further away from this more trad ideal, I do think that guys kind of do look for a little bit more socioeconomic status in a woman. But like for guys, it's not the make or break thing. For a woman, I think like a guy who's a bum is a make or break thing. But for guys, like we're not really concerned about their income nearly as much as women are concerned about men's income. I mean, you even see this duplicated when you read The Evolution of Desire by Dr. David Buss. They cover this in every single culture across the world. Generally, women are concerned with a guy's socioeconomic status, and guys care much, 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 much less about a woman's socioeconomic status. Now, not 0% at all, but guys generally don't care nearly as much as women do.
I mean, I get that, but
Yeah.
I see like all of the men that I know that are like the most successful are dating really hot boss babes. And they're very attractive women, but they're also very successful women. And these men are also very like high status in regards to like their career. And I've always seen that. I know
I mean,
it
that
used
just
to
speaks
be
to
more of a thing.
compatibility to me, though.
I know,
like so people who care about their career, like somebody else who cares about their career, is going to be like less demanding of time. If you're like, I'm working 80 hours a week, I need you to understand that that's a priority for me. Somebody who's already working 70 hours a week is going to be like, yeah, send it. We'll go on fucking dope vacations together.
For me, part of the reason I care about my career is because I care about myself and I have an ego and I like it, fulfilled by being fucking awesome at what I do. So I think that, but like, imagine me being like a fucking, just like aloof, whatever. I don't got an interest in the world other than like going out for fucking coffee with my friends and whatever. Like, is that attractive to you? I don't know. I mean, maybe at first when you first meet me and I look really good, but after a while, won't you be like, God, this lazy bitch? Like, I think
it is could be temporarily attractive,
right?
For sure. Because I've definitely dated women that like weren't, like
super ambitious.
Well, so
super
like
ambitious at all, and like were very hot, but it like didn't like there is like a shelf life for those kinds of relationships for me personally. But I'm also not a man,
agree with
so
that.
Yeah, so for like a lot of guys,
men's side, I've dated hot dumbasses, and
I feel like a lot of dudes.
Smart,
a lot of guys who are
lazy.
driven, a lot of guys who are driven to a high degree, high performing guys generally are so caught up with what they're doing that they're not generally concerned with what their woman's doing. And they're generally looking at their woman as like, I don't want to say it's just like a sign of relief, but somebody that is a great compliment to their life, which is generally what, a red pill kind of talking point would be, is that like you should find a woman that complements your life and that isn't the focus of your life, which I think it's not just good advice for men, but I mean it's good advice for people in general, because like you should want somebody that makes your life better, not somebody that complicates your life or anything like that. And really that's I was actually talking to Jack Napier about this, and we should have him on sometime. He said he would do it, but he was kind of asking me like, why did I pick my wife and why did I get married? Okay, well, one of the first things that occurred to me is that, before we were just started out dating, and I remember she came over to my house and I didn't ask her to do anything. She's like, hey, where's the key for your house? I'm like, okay, it's here, whatever. And then I literally came home. My whole house was spotless, didn't ask for this or anything. And I was like, okay, well, she went out of her way to make my life better. Okay, well, if you have somebody that does that for you, then that's probably a good sign. I know that sounds pretty obvious, but somebody, once again, that just has that this would benefit them zero, but it benefits you a lot at their expense, and they're doing it out of goodwill of their heart. That's generally somebody that you want to keep around, or that, it's a high indicator of interest.
So if they do that and then you get married and they stop doing it, how do you feel about them?
Well, I mean, it's kind of a covert contract at that point because like you shouldn't expect people just to do things for you because.
Well, I was going to say, are you
they're
mad at them, or are
yeah.
you going to say, "Well played, well played, good move"?
Yeah, I mean, to your point, well played. You know, but I mean, at the same time, I've always kept a clean house.
Do you pull a Steven Crowder?
Oh God, this was so bad. This was so bad. Go ahead, let her rip.
Do I need context for this?
No, you just did it. I drew a boundary.
Oh, come on. Can you guys hear it at least?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
You were not taking the car because if you refuse to do right,
Why isn't it?
Where are you at, Brandy? What's your internet
then I will
situation?
go and get the groceries.
God, I so badly want to know what wifely duties was.
My grill.
Sex. Blood.
There are no groceries today.
But I'll go do it. How about you first? Hillary, how do you respect the man? Yeah, other than that, you see love comes back. No, other than man. No, you're not taking the car.
Stephen,
You're not taking the car.
Stephen,
You are not.
then I will ask them to pick me up. Would you like me to ask?
Oh, that's right.
It's not correct, Stephen.
Get an Uber.
Okay, Stephen, I can't.
Feeling some constraints?
Stephen.
Like I can't
Stephen.
go. Listen to me. Listen to me. You want to walk out right now? Listen to me. I can't go to the gym. I can't go to my parents. I can't call my friends. I can't go. I can't be home. You're gonna take the car and leave me here. Hillary, just think of how boxed in you've made me.
What do you need me to pick up? I'll get it. I'll be back when I'm back.
Yeah, this is just painful to watch.
You'll be back when you're back. It doesn't work either.
Why did they have one car that's
I
so
understand the
weird?
difference between my life being
Dude,
set-
he literally used to brag. Steven Crowder used to brag about being the largest show on YouTube, and they have one car.
It's so weird.
Only way out of it.
He sounds like such a cunt.
It's got a nice
God,
pool
Only
though.
out of it. And we're at an impact.
We are going to cast.
So what is the context here? Are we watching an
they got a
abusive
divorce.
interaction, or
Yeah.
okay.
So this turned into a divorce. Steven Crowder actually. Let me get you his.
God, he's the
response.
worst.
His response is very cute.
He sounds like such a little bitch. look how boxed in you made me.
Yeah, I don't have any sympathy for him, but I feel like that's just that's a lot of bad relationship stuff going on in there.
So like it's literally how people will make fun of women not taking accountability. This is 100% Steven Crowder not taking accountability. When you literally yell at your wife, look at how boxed in you made me. Like, dude, right there, you sound like a fucking little bitch.
He's a woman.
Yeah, this video will go into like his kind of response, which like we'll get into it because
is it going to be embarrassing? Am I going to cringe to watch this?
Probably.
Okay, I love you. I love you very much.
He says, I don't.
I don't love you. That's the big problem. I've never received love from you. And the fact is, when I go, look, I need you to do A, B, C, and D, you just whisper about it. You go, no. But I love you more than life itself. Okay. Put on some gloves. No. But I love you more than life itself. That's not fair. It's not fair, and it's disingenuous.
This was not my choice. My then wife decided that she didn't want to be married anymore. And in the state of Texas, that is completely permitted. That's not my
He was
choice.
consulting lawyers
She
first.
simply
by the way.
wanted out, and the law says that that's how it works. Now, of course, look, I get it. There are multiple sides to every.
What really fucking bothers me is that he's like, this is no fault, divorce's fault. Like that he was like, it's legal for her
to end the
leave me.
marriage.
Like, and that's the problem. Like, fuck you, dude. I actually get really mad when people talk shit about no fault divorce because I think that, like, yes, everyone's like, oh, well, it made the divorce rate go up. And it was like, yeah, because a lot of people were forced into marriages they didn't want to be.
Well,
Why
you know, it's kind of
people should be stuck in relationships they don't want to be in.
That's all I gotta say to you,
funny.
and that. Oh, sorry. Is that especially if you're one of our types, the libertarian types, you want the state to keep you in a relationship you don't want to be in. That's what you're saying when you say don't.
Well, okay, so like James Sexton had actually changed my mind on no fault divorce. So I kind of would have lined up with all of the trad cons when it came to no fault divorce. But when he kind of explained like, hey, basically what no fault divorce does is basically you expedite the process. So like, you know, if there was, you know, at fault divorce, like you had to go through all these trials, it basically also does you pay the lawyer a shit ton of money to find out whose fault it really really is.
Mhm.
And basically, like, you could hold people up forever. So honestly, James Sexton changed my mind on that within like the last year or so, because before that I would have completely agreed with someone like Steven Crowder or Matt Walsh.
Yeah, but well, I it blows my mind because I think that I even see Rolo. I've seen Rolo I don't know because Rolo words things in a very specific way that I can never tell where he's at. But like he like will be like, this is because of no fault divorce, but he doesn't really say that he thinks no fault divorce is bad, but he's still kind of like putting blame on no fault divorce, which I don't understand this because here's the other thing is like if you were a domestic abuse victim, right, that would have been a fault divorce. You could have done that, but you would have had to have proven it, and it would have been a bitch. Like there's so many things. Cheating, you have to prove it. How the fuck do you prove that? Like it's just such a pain in the ass.
I got a story about that for another day.
Like proving cheating.
I had to help somebody from Virginia who was doing because they have the option still for fault divorce, even though all states are no fault divorce now. You can still do the at fault divorces. Believe in the states that allow it. It affects things like spousal support. And there was the infidelity happened in California, so we were conducting depositions for them, helping them out, and it was just we had video of this woman and this guy coming in and out of a hotel room, but we didn't have footage of inside the hotel room, so it was a whole thing. No, we're just work friends.
Yeah, I mean that's one of those like wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Like here's your spousal support.
Yeah, I'm sure he ended up winning. I don't know. We only did that portion of the case, but because it had to occur inside California, but it was a Virginia case. But it was just funny. Like, have fun proving that when you don't have video footage of them fucking.
I do think that like what I've noticed with this like Lauren Southern, the Lauren Southern and like the Hillary Crowder stuff is like people are very like harsh to them both. I've noticed like in the right wing space, like because I know that you say like, oh, like at least I haven't heard you say it about Hillary Crowder, but I have heard you say it about Lauren Southern, Kyle, that you think that she's kind of like playing the victim and all of that stuff. And maybe she is. I actually never really knew of her content or anything until she had left the right wing sphere. But it's either way. I'm not saying that people should like give them sympathy, but I do think that there is some like there's something there with what they're saying. I don't think that what they're saying is a lie.
What like
right?
there are dark sides to Tradlife for some people.
Yeah, no,
absolutely. I think there is
agree
validity in what they're talking about. Like even if Lauren Southern is exaggerating or whatever, there's truth in what they're saying. There's truth in like the idea of what they're saying. I'm not going to get into the weeds of she's lying or not because I don't fucking know.
This is why, again, like I told Brandy before we started, like I could have seen this coming from a mile away because I watched Lauren Southern back when she was on the Rebel Media when she was like 21. And it's like, this is why you don't take advice and like these authoritative, like preaching to you videos from 21-year-old chicks who have no life experience. I'm sorry. Like, Lauren, I mean, because then it comes around and then she grows up a little bit and wow, I have I could have predicted this. I seen this coming from 10,000 miles away because I would have laid money on this happening to her. No offense, Lauren.
Do you think Pearly
I'm
Things
sure you're watching
Jesus moment? Like Pearly Things gets married and then she
I think Pearly Things is gonna I think she's gonna ride into the political career because she's already starting to tweet about Trump and how he was a great president. So I think come November time she's gonna try to go
still burning that coal.
What's that?
Is she still burning coal?
She Me Too'd her one coach.
Oh, the volleyball. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
No, I say, doesn't she fuck black guys exclusively?
I did not know that that's what that phrase meant.
That's what I thought it meant.
I'm not, I actually think it's just funny. That's why I said it. But,
what?
There's like oh god, no, I'm not.
Because then they'll post pictures of girls who were killed by their black boyfriends.
Can we not? We're on YouTube, guys.
I'm just gonna say,
Jesus Christ.
If you ever see somebody who says paid the toll, it's usually they'll posting a picture or a story about a young white girl who was killed by.
Oh Jesus!
Her new man is white. What do you mean? Pearly thinks has a boyfriend. I didn't think that was a thing.
Oh, I thought she was fucking that guy named Blessing or whatever, who was like a camera guy. I assume some guy named Blessing is black.
I thought Blessing. I'm thinking of bodybuilder. Blessing Awudab. I can't remember his last name. It's something fucked up.
Pixar didn't happen.
Yeah.
I have a hard time. I can't. I have a hard time imagining someone.
I think she's actually kind of pretty, but she just
she stays mid because it works for her.
If you think about it,
no.
Actually, she does wear makeup. It's just very light and horribly applied. But if she was real done up the way like you or I do ourselves up, I think she'd be cute. So if I was walking around looking like the way she does, like a drowned rat all the time, I would not look great.
I know I might have like a
frumpy potato sack ass dresses.
I have
the centaur, the horse
riding
riding
girl. Are we just
girl.
shitting on people? I've lost the. Is there?
No. Sorry, that was pearly things. We kind of went on a little pearly.
No, I just started this by saying
you guys want to make fun of people.
Pretty.
I'm down for it. I just need to know who it is.
She watches us occasionally.
I know she said that she was on a chat with Kyle and I one time, and I was like, what?
Yeah, well. But I do think like what you were saying with Lauren Southern in regards to like her kind of having her, I guess, come to Jesus moment. And then Hillary Crowder, right, is also having her, because if you read the article, she talks about how she has like an Underground Railroad like signal chat of like ex trad wives or like trad wives that are like in these relationships that are unhappy.
Yeah,
like that's like a part of the article, which is like quite interesting. Like these like conservative influencers that are like afraid to talk about this stuff, I guess. Which you can see why, because they get fucking destroyed. Like Lauren Southern, people destroy the shit out. Like she gets attacked by everybody, and even Hillary Crowder. Which I think Hillary Crowder, like I think what most people don't like about her is they're like, well, why did she record the video? But you don't understand is that if you are in a toxic or abusive relationship, you do start to document things because you don't know what's going to happen. And because she is married and was married and in that trad situation where like she didn't have a career or anything and was completely dependent on him. Yeah, she's also document things.
It's funny because like a Hillary Crowder story goes completely against the trad narrative. So, for a lot of like right-wing guys, this plays against their bias because Steven did all the right things. I mean, there was the article where he literally wrote that he like waited till marriage, they were like their first and all this stuff, and then it didn't work out. So like this kind of flies in the face of a lot of like the Daily Wire and the traditional conservative guys' faces because like they did everything right, but it didn't work out for them. And what that would mean for a lot of them is that like, hey, when you get on your soapbox, you preach to these people about being perfectly traditionally conservative and all this, that like, hey, this may not work for you, and for some people it may end very, very badly, and nobody wants to hear that. But hey, sometimes shit fucking happens and your life gets turned fucking upside down. But nobody wants to hear that when they're preaching traditional conservatism, because once again that would mean that, hey, my message isn't going to save the world.
I really want that to be the thing where like, because that's something I have that conversation when people start asking me like, hey, is poly right for me? I'm like, no, you should go talk to the fucking swingers or the conservative. You know what I mean? Like you need Jesus. You don't want us. But then like I feel like that isn't happening in reverse. Like I want that to be the group where it's like, hey, you not want what we're selling. Like you should go talk to the hippies. Like they have more of what you're looking for. Like I feel like as groups, like we really need to have a shopper mentality and not a my way is the only way to salvation and a good life.
Yes,
like how do we encourage that where it's like we need to be hawking it in a market, like women will be subservient to you maybe if you're in this fucking bracket of like good at life and you find somebody, or like how do we package like trad life in a way that it's palatable? How do we package the alternative relationship styles that are also palatable, and how do we cohesively merge those together for teenagers and young?
Like not a trad life or a whatever perfect, none of this is going to protect you if you're a shitty person. Mm-hmm. And by all accounts, Steven Crowder is a piece of shit. I know somebody personally who used to work for him who's an amazing guy, and I believe everything he says about that guy. He has no reason to lie, and I just think that Steven Yeah, sure. I
The
mean, but
trad
like I
cunts aren't
think,
sending their best.
and I think Hillary Crowder gets attacked partially because she's married to a guy. She had no presence in the media really, and then she's married to a guy who has his own media company, so she's sort of set up to fail in that regard. It's like, you know, if Laura Loomer marries some schmuck and shit goes haywire, I'm sure it would be, you know, a similar. I don't know what Laura Loomer does, but you know what I'm saying, like. If it was Steven Crowder married to Lauren Southern, that might be a different situation. But Hillary Crowder, I think she was like a model at some point, and then I don't think she had much of a presence. Whereas Steven has a very large media presence.
Well, is there a lifestyle that contains shitty people better than others? How do we deal with the shitty people that ruin it for everybody?
We make a dating app where it's like you're shitty and you all date each other. But then you end up with an Amber Heard Johnny Depp situation.
Yeah, but like how you generally don't. I mean, sometimes disasters fucking happen, and that's all there is to it. Unfortunately.
But did you see that Steven Crowder's now dating like a 40-year-old catfish because she like really photoshopped the shit out of her profile picture?
Insane. Okay.
Oh.
Yes, I
hold on.
did see this girl because she was posting absolutely insane things in regards to women. She was saying that women. It was like this girl was talking about how her. God damn it! I don't have the clip saved, or I would show it. But basically, this girl was talking about how her. She's holding her baby, and like she was like. My boyfriend just let me because I have postpartum depression and I haven't been doing the dishes and stuff. And her boyfriend left her while she was like, I think like 3 or 4 weeks postpartum. And this girl, Steven Crowder's, I guess, new girlfriend was like, well, you should be able to exercise. You should be able to do all of these things, you know, saying basically shitting on the girl for not doing those stuffs while postpartum, which is insane. Like that is insane. I'm sorry. Like give a girl some grace for a little bit after she has a baby. Yeah, I think that. But hey, that's 2 assholes coming together though. So
it's just funny though because she's 40 and you know the whole age
that's what
thing.
he needs. 40-year-old asshole. That makes.
There's nothing lower to me, and it's similar on the flip side. Like I hate most women, but like there's nothing lower to me than shitting on the entire like female race to like get ahead in life. Like go fuck yourself. That's so dumb. You piece, like you have nothing to offer if you're doing that, and you're probably doing that. I know the pick me thing is kind of played out, but like they're not sending their best when they're doing that either. It's not like these are dimes.
Yeah, so like Pearl's whole grift is essentially being a mid who tells guys exactly what they want to hear. And instead of telling guys like, hey, there are these objective issues with women, at least in the world today, as you see them, but like you can overcome these things by just doing like a medium amount, like just a very, very small amount of work. Instead, it keeps guys complacent.
Well, her narrative is that men are always the victim.
Right, and that's what I mean.
Time.
You're selling guys their victimhood so that way they don't have to fix anything. But really, the message should be is that like, no, you can overcome these issues if you want to. But if you don't want to, then you just have to accept that you're going to be in a shitty situation, right? And for me, that's unacceptable.
She takes the woman's side. Like I would be surprised.
Literally never.
But I've seen comments on her videos that are literally like, "Yeah, Pearl is a 5, but." When you listen to what comes out of her mouth, she's a 10. Like that's the kind of shit that she's fiending for when she does what she does.
Nobody means that though. Dude, that is so funny that I think about it because I always was like would make misogynistic jokes and I thought misogyny was funny and I still do. But now I realize like I think misogyny is funny sometimes. Like I think it's like there's comedy there. But it's unfortunate because now people take it seriously and they think that I'm being serious and I can't even be misogynistic anymore. Like
God, you're never misogynist, or at least if you are, I never catch it.
I have been many times, but it's for the lulz. And then
she makes those jokes in real life pretty heavily.
Yeah, but less so now because I realize that people think I'm being serious. And they're like, based, yes, women fucking suck. And I'm like, dude, no, I'm literally joking.
Yeah, I've experienced that in life. They take it as like an invitation to be terrible.
And then I'm like, okay, wait, let's like reel it in a little bit. I wasn't like giving you a
But
green light.
it is still funny.
Yeah, but what's bullshit is that men. I can also admit that misandry can be funny too, and men have a hard time admitting that. I think misogyny can be funny, and so can misandry, which is why I think Rad Femme Hitler sometimes will drop something fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Because misandry, when it is like in a joking context, can be hilarious. But I've
she's a
noticed
troll,
that
right?
she is a troll, but
Right,
that's why
okay.
sometimes it is funny. She says things, and I'm like, oh my god, that's fucking hilarious.
Most of the time, she comes off like a stunned, jaded cunt. Really?
No, but
she's 100% a troll.
Yes, she is a troll.
Yeah, I mean, the
Fair
name
enough.
is, you know,
Rad Femme
pure
Hitler.
troll.
Yeah.
But
she can't even keep her story straight about her background, and people actually like hold that against her. And it's like because she's making it up.
I've noticed that men can't take misandry jokes. As
They can't.
Like they have a really
they're
hard
wedded to
time
their
with
victimhood.
misandry. Yeah, like, and I think that like right now men need to get more comfortable with that, because if I say any sort of misandrous joke, just a joke, oh my god, people lose their fucking mind. I can't be a
People find you on
misogynist or
Twitter, like-
misandrous anymore.
They will come out of nowhere and like find an old tweet of mine and be like, "Oh, it's okay to shit on man, you feminist." I'm like, "Who?
I know.
Like, were you just like, how'd you find me? Like, what the hell is going on?"
So biblical anarchy, our boy. The red flags are always present. People don't court, date properly, and ask the right questions before getting serious. That is true. Which, okay, I know that the red pill fucking hates this whole like prefrontal cortex thing, but I actually do believe that well, it's not that I believe this, it's just true. The prefrontal cortex doesn't fully develop until you are 25 years old, okay? Which means men and women, not just fucking women, men and women.
Go ahead, say it. I know where you're
make
going.
Proper decisions.
So women aren't
Until they're
accountable.
No, men aren't either. No, neither. I think that and I'm not saying you aren't accountable. I'm saying that I don't think it's a good idea for them to jump into marriage before the age of 25. I don't think it's a good idea. I will die on that hill. I think that you should wait until after the age of 25 before making that kind of commitment. Because I do think I know that I was a different person before the age of 25, and even in regards to like 25 to 30. But
Sure.
like,
You'll be a different person at 35 too.
No. But I will say that the difference between 20 to 25 is so significantly different than 25 to 30.
It's a big jump.
Like and to 25 to 35. I'm not as different as 25-year-old me or 26-year-old me as I am from 20-year-old me.
25. But Kyle, you are a very staunch anti-abusive predator. You're like, abusers can fucking rot in hell. Generally, how I've heard you, like when people are actually fucking coming at. And the comment that you linked from Bib Anarchy guy, to me that actually doesn't do a service to because Brandy, you can speak to this, and I've had years of training. I was in a whole space doing community work there. Talented narcissists and fucking charming predators will buy. Like people are like, the red flags are there and all that, and they are. The signs are there, but it is so easy.
People overlook them.
It's just they know how to play. Like it's like one of the like benefit of the doubt and all these sort of things. And like the good ones will, like they're out there that with their prey already having like ruined lives and like taking advantage. And then like once that's all trained up, they hop on and charm more people. Like I have seen people move through friend groups. I have seen people, like it is, the red flags are there, but that like a lot of the time it doesn't matter, or they know about their own red flags and know how to hide them long enough to get hooks in. And then it like, it's manipulative.
Well, they're
people
usually
are
really
very
likable within their own gender too.
Yeah, manipulative
so like their
people
friends, like
are
so
very
like,
powerful.
Yes, like within their own friend group, like within like the type of person that might be an abuser, people wouldn't think that about them because they're so likable and they have a lot of friends. And I think that and that's not always the case because sometimes they're just fucking recluses. But like, I think that there's like this assumption of what an abuser will look like. And yeah, I agree.
Well, all guys are narcissists, but it's just a matter of degree. No, it's true.
Well, I think all people are narcissists.
Yeah, I would
stand
by all people have a degree of narcissism.
Well, so like guys have narcissism, and it's a matter of like channeling it in a more productive way, and women are solipsistic, right? So I mean, there's a quantitative difference here. Oh yeah, there is. Yeah, but it's true, and you.
Their definitions, when you look at the actual clinical definition of narcissism, are very similar to solipsism. It's sort of part and parcel. But it's actually funny that we're talking about this because I've been on one of my annual deep dives into the O.J. Simpson case because I just love it so much. I do this every year. And I mean, part of the reason that case was so interesting is because there's documented history of him beating the shit out of this woman, yet he was the guy everybody loved. He was fucking OJ, you know. He was what was he in Norberg and fucking Naked Gun movies. He was hilarious. Everyone loved him, but every woman who's dated him has a story about getting the shit beat out of her, and he was horrible, but nobody, and that's part of the reason, in addition to the racial tensions and some other things that were going on at the time, but part of the reason that he was ultimately found not guilty is because it's really hard for people to understand the two sides, and a lot of times you will never see that side unless you're with that person.
Well, and he already had like an established good reputation before that. So like when somebody has, like, you think about what the fuck's his name, Bill Cosby, right? Bill Cosby had a whole media career of him being the friendly, nice father. So when it comes to him being taken down as a sexual predator, it's hard for people to stomach that because he already built up so much good faith with the public. I feel like that's probably what O.J. Simpson had going for him.
Yeah, similar. But I think a lot of these abusers, at least in some of the more high profile type cases, do have that dual public face, private face type of thing going on.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing was quite interesting. I was watching that case very closely because I think that Johnny Depp was an abuser, and that the court case was for sure. I do think that there is something true to be said that there isn't a perfect victim, and like there's always when you are in those situations, you are not perfect. Sometimes you fight back. Yeah. Sometimes you will be a bitch. Sometimes, you're not going to be perfect in every situation. So that's kind of what I felt like that whole thing was basically just a public relations stunt. And in my opinion, I thought the fact that Johnny Depp really wanted cameras in the courtroom made me really think that he was an abuser even more. Because it felt like he was continuing to do it by doing that. Like that really, I was like, only a fucking asshole would want to do that.
That's actually funny you say that because I can't tell you how many times that in family court, somebody will be, the guy before this is, oh, let's just get everything resolved, blah, blah. You file a restraining order because he does something really shitty. And then all of a sudden he wants to submit your sex videos as evidence to the court. Mm-hmm. He comes out and immediately, and he's trying to ratchet up your attorney's fees. So that is absolutely a tactic, a litigation tactic, a continuing abuse of litigation, which we've had a hard time legislating that legal process because you have a right to put on to a certain amount of litigation, but then there's also ways to abuse it. So it's a hard balance to strike, but that's absolutely an abuse tactic.
Yeah, I know, but it's like, how do you prove? It's like, oh, they're continuing to abuse me via the court. Like, you can't even prove that. But it's very fucked up. But I really saw that in that case that I don't know if a lot of people. I'm sure there are people that did, but that's how it felt to me, was that he was continuing. That whole situation was him continuing to do it.
I don't know. Also, he's an addict, and like,
yeah,
I feel like she definitely.
Oh, she definitely got a personality.
Shit in the bed.
Well, she's definitely got a personality disorder for sure. And I'm not saying she's perfect, but. Like, I'm not saying that she's a perfect person. I'm saying that.
But didn't she like slice his finger?
Well, there's.
She said no one will believe it. Like, I think there's some mutual abuse going on there.
No, for sure. Well, but that's the thing, is that like I've watched a lot into it, and like obviously there was some evidence that they like didn't, that for some reason the judge excluded, which was him admitting to hitting her. and it was in text messages, and it was really weird, like why the judge would exclude certain pieces of evidence. I don't know. I think that they were like she was definitely fucked up, but I do think that there was an aspect of that being like a public relations move, one to like
they probably couldn't authenticate the text messages or something like that, or
Yeah.
lack of foundation. You can't just submit a screenshot of a text message with no date or timestamp and say like, "Oh, he said this one time."
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with this sentence here, or if I do. I like this idea of like you should get married young and then get divorced. And
Okay,
then,
so
like, now,
yeah,
No.
Jacob said getting married young helps you from getting married young helps form you during the developmental years. Being single in your younger years actually breeds more predator and narcissist. I don't know that I agree with the latter part. Yeah, I don't know that I agree with the latter part, but the former part, I think for some people, sure, but for some people, maybe not.
Agree with
I mean,
that.
the way that I always look at it is that you're going to have people that, once again, you can get along with, people you can't get along with. There's no one for you. You're just going to kind of have to find your person, and I don't want to say hope for the best, but develop yourself to the best of your ability and hope that you find somebody that likes those qualities about you and also seeks the same for themselves.
I think getting married young only really works when community is a part of it. And it's like arranged marriages where parents are like, I know your personality from as a child, and I can, because I have like generational knowledge on what kind of person you're going to turn into and what kind of person you would pair with. And I'm like fundamentally against that kind of arrangement. And so like I understand that thinking, and I can even imagine like societal structures where it works, quote unquote, but like it is antithesis to I don't know, like to me this feels very anti-American in a way. Like getting young is great as long as you're fine with divorce, like fucking roll the dice. But I think that the idea of coming from like a religious perspective of getting married young and divorce is a bad thing. It's a bad combo. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like we don't know who we are.
It's interesting because people that married young that are like happy about it, they always want to be like, but being single when you're young is bad for you. But you weren't. So how do you know?
Right.
Like you weren't single when they're young. So you're going to tell
me.
me.
I mean, they could say the same thing to you.
No,
they could say the same thing to you about not being married young.
The only thing that we can know statistically in regards to people that get married before the age of 25 is that they, I think, are 60% more likely to get divorced in 10 years. So that's like just statistically what we know. What we know about people that don't get married young, I mean, how do we really like gauge that? You're going to say that everyone that doesn't get married before the age of 25 is a narcissist or predator? Like you can't really say that.
Well, to be fair, he didn't say that.
No, I'm not. I know.
We're
but
all
being
narcissists
single,
and predators
I
here.
know.
Because Kyle was like 28 when he got married.
I'm not saying that's what he's saying, but I'm saying like being single in your younger years actually breeds more predators and narcissists. But I don't know if I just don't see that correlation.
Yeah, that's why I said I would agree with that or with you in that I don't think at least I don't know how it would breed more predators and narcissists. I mean, this gets back to the age of consent, right? Not really, but like basically like people are going to develop completely differently. So like, according to your life circumstances. So just to throw my anecdote out there, I grew up with a single mom, right? My mom worked 100 hours a week. My brother and I basically raised ourselves. So we were mature by the time we were like 14, 15 years old. Whereas some people who may have had a little bit more of a comfortable lifestyle when they were kids, they may not hit like full adulthood till they're 20, 21 even. And that's not a knock on them. I'm just saying like different people in different circumstances are going to develop differently. So to kind of paint with broad strokes, I don't know, man. It's just not that applicable when it comes to like, okay, well, getting married young works for everybody. I don't know, man. For some people, it might, if you're independent from a young age, then hey, maybe getting married young is a good idea because you already kind of figured yourself out and you know what you want out of life. If you're not independent from a young age, then hey, maybe waiting a little bit and kind of experiencing life for yourself as you become an adult might be a little bit more important for you before getting married. It's going to be up to people at the end of the day, and they're going to do what they want to do regardless.
If I got married young, I would be divorced right now. Like, and I know that I would be because I now am dating the love of my life, who I'm getting married to. So if I had married younger, I wouldn't have met that. I wouldn't have known that person. Like, and then I would be divorced now. Like, and I that's why I get really annoyed with that kind of narrative because I'm like, you're pretending that every single person is going to meet like the person that they want to be with for the rest of their lives before the age of 25, or that they are the person that that person is going to want to be with before the age of 25, because I was not the person that I am now, and I don't think that I was the type of person that should have been in a long-term relationship with someone, because I was a hot mess.
This is what bothers me about people who talk about like, oh, dating someone past a certain age. It's like, and hey, it's probably because it is, the shoe fits on me. I have never been married. I'm 36, but like I have never, until the last few years, I had never met somebody I wanted to be married to. I had never, there's no like great love that I missed out on or something, so it's like, what if I literally just haven't met the person? There's not, I don't think I'm that weird, but I will say the one thing that Jacob, I think, has somewhat of a point about, because I've noticed now, being in a relationship at this age, is that, there is something that's probably beneficial about growing with a person and growing into adulthood with a person.
Sure.
Whereas I'm so stuck in my ways now that it's like, it's kind of hard to like merge lifestyles with somebody when you're, 36.
Already set in your ways. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do.
Like,
I
I'm
do
used
think
to
there's
living by
wisdom to that.
myself. Yeah.
I think people who get to their 30s and have not lived with a partner are set. Like, I really think people should go through a lot of those relationships and learn. But that's a part of how we grow into. Like, I'm a much healthier, better partner because of all the failed relationships I've had.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay. You know what's funny is, Ren, I completely agree with you, and this is kind of where a lot of people, a lot of guys in the red pill space will talk about spinning plates, and this isn't necessarily because you should just go out and fuck women. It's about the experience. It's about learning yourself and learning how you interact with other people.
Why is it bad for women to do that?
Well, I mean, that's once again, women are going to do what they want to do, regardless.
But I think people should go out, and I think having sex is only a small piece of it. People should go out.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. That's exactly the
people
point.
should go out and love deeply, right? Like, fucking keep your heart open. Like, get wounded, get heartbroken, get fucking, a piece of yourself ripped away, because then it's fucking wabi sabi. You patch yourself back up, and you're now better for it, right? There are traumas that come along with it. There's going to be people who get PTSD along the way, but on the whole, that's how you make a proper human, by fucking putting them through the
muscle
crucible
for it to grow, Kyle.
Exactly.
You have to coal. What the fuck is it? Coal turns into diamonds. But basically, so to Brandy's point, women already date non-exclusively because what do they always call it? The food call or the foodie call or whatever. But you should experience a lot of people, right?
No, I know a girl who did that. They go on lots of dates to get free food.
Oh,
exactly. But like Ryan would always say, is that a lot of red pill is applying female sexual strategy for male sensibilities.
I did do that when I was like 21.
Yeah,
but I never had sex with them. I would just
they usually don't.
That is my whole point. Is that spinning plates isn't necessarily about having sex with all these people. It's about getting experiences with people and understanding social dynamics, and also just finding out if there's like certain personality traits in a person that you like more than another person. So I probably wouldn't like my wife that much if I didn't have like the backdrop of all the other people that I've been with, because like there are times where I'm occasionally like, I look back at my ex-girlfriend that I was dating before I dated my wife, and I'm like, God, she was fucking insane. The sex was great, but she was fucking insane. Yeah, and then like I look at my wife now, I'm like, she's calm, she's collected, and she's beautiful, wonderful person. And like I would probably have way more gripes about my wife if I didn't have the contrast to compare her to, if that makes sense.
I'm excited. I just heard this. I didn't mean to cut you off there, Kyle, but like the foodie thing. I think I have a date with somebody because they've been asking about the quality of the food to the place we're going. They're all like, "So what's the deal with the food here?" But I met them at a fucking. I met them at a kink club the other weekend, and we were just like making out. So I was like, "All right, I feel like we're probably gonna vibe, but I will let you know if."
I was making out with her and now,
I feel like that's something you do when you're younger. Like, I would never do that
when you're broke.
When you're broke. I would never do that now, which is another reason why the guys are like, "Oh, date fucking 20-year-old girls," but then they bitch about what 20-year-old girls do, and it's like, yeah, because we're poor when we're 20 and we're hungry. So people take advantage of the fact that you
no problem with that. I got no problem with that.
I don't know. It's just honestly, this is one of my biggest issues with like both the trads and sometimes red pillars is that there's a lot of like cognitive dissonance. It's like they'll say they want one thing, but then they don't really, then
Because
they
they don't
bitch
know
about
themselves.
the things.
They don't know
bitch about the
themselves.
things that comes with the thing that they say that they want. They're like, we all want to date these 20, 21-year-old girls, and they're like, oh, these girls are club rats, and they're all 3 floors, and like they all just do all this shit. And it's like, then why are you dating 20, 21?
Well, it is kind of funny because actually Jack and I were talking about this last night, and you see all these trads always say, "Oh, you're never going to meet a girl in a club or anything like that."
Oh,
and
yeah.
like me and Rolo kind of went back and forth about this. Like he met his wife at a club that he was playing at, and then I literally stepped over puke outside of my car the next morning after I met my wife because I was so trashed, and I had to go talk to her and get her number. Like it wasn't, and she was at a benefit that my band was playing, and I was gone. I remember the bartender telling me like, I can't believe you're still standing right now. So, but like, this idea that you're going to find your perfect trad wife in a library or shopping at, what the fuck is it? Whole Foods or something
Well,
like
you probably
that. Like,
won't meet your trad wife at a club, but you could meet a wife at a club.
I meet a
could
lot
meet
of
somebody who
people
becomes
but
a
who cares?
trad wife.
Like,
yeah.
Maybe. I don't know if
I-
it's
The problem is that this trad wife has become this aesthetic thing.
yeah.
yes.
Versus
It's more an
like I
aesthetic than
said,
actual lifestyle.
yeah, like I said at the beginning, many of the women that I personally know right now who are living what is essentially a trad wife lifestyle
What do you
are
call a
liberal
trad wife?
feminists.
Just single. What do you? Okay, actually, before we fucking end, I need a definition because what is it?
We've been
what
talking
the
about
fuck?
the entire show.
I know. Well,
Like,
because
stay-at-home
I know
mom.
what the idea is. It stay-at-home mom is a trad? Well, no, because I like cook my boyfriend food, and people are like trad wife, and I'm like, that's all it takes. Jesus, like what? Like, because it's like they'll act like these like particular small things are what make you a trad wife, but like, what is like the big picture? Is it you got stay-at-home mom, kids?
I would say it's probably
obviously.
the stay-at-home mom, basically the things that people generally look at as like motherly duties. So she stays at home, she cooks all the meals, she does the laundry, she does the dishes, she takes care of all the household, like the interior household stuff, and then the guy kind of takes care of all the fixing the car, cutting the grass, and all that stuff. I think that's kind of what people think of when they think trad wife, right?
Okay.
Yeah, that's
So
normal, I feel
and
like.
you said that your friends that are like trad are like more liberal feminists.
Yeah, because what happens is you have a baby and you're physically, first of all, like need to take some time off of work to be with them, and your priorities shift. And I think that's absolutely normal when you bring a child into this world, and to act like these women are incapable of making that shift is to deny biology. In fact, I think.
Yeah, like so I would say my friends that have kids, I would say I wouldn't call them a trad wife, but like like part-time job, like doesn't work like as much as they did before, but still has like a small type of job type of thing, but not like full trad wife.
Right.
I don't really know many people in like the full-on dependency place where you're fully dependent on the other person. And my only qualms with that is like, as we said, when we talk about prenups or having a job is basically like a female safety net, is making sure that if something does happen that you are protected.
We also live in an expensive area, so like sometimes it's like I know people who make very good money and are like, if we want a kid, you got to keep working. Like that's
Oh my god.
My boyfriend has offered I could be a trad wife if I want to be, but we can stay tuned. We'll
What
see.
the
Maybe
fuck
I'll
does Ben
change
do
my
that he makes this much money?
construction.
He's like, I was gonna say, I thought he was like
he kills people for money. We'll say it here.
I thought Ben was a carpenter.
Pipelining type of stuff.
Okay.
But
so would you say he lays a good pipe?
Shut the fuck up, dude.
She's pregnant.
And on that note,
Meredith. All right.
Hey, wait, Ben and I might room together at LNC meetings in the future. Is that going to be cool?
Wait, what? Yeah, I don't care. I don't even know what you just asked me, but I'm sure I don't care.
Ben's going to be my roommate at future LNC meetings.
Oh yeah, go for it. Sick.
We're going to be the emo suite.
Kyle, give your spiel.
Yeah, of course. Now I'm so upset that I'm not going to get to hang out with you guys. Yeah, that really bums me out, man.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, you could find me at Komentovic on Twitter, 5 till midnight on Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern time. I won't be on this week because my wife and I are going to be in Atlantic City. Next week I have Kyle Anzalone on Wednesday, and then yes, and then on Friday I have Ryan Dawson coming on. So both those will be really, really cool shows. And then hopefully in the coming weeks, I'll have Ryan Stone back on my show. So good lineup coming up for everybody. Make sure you go check out my show I just did with Jack Napier. He'll be on here sometime. We'll have to figure out a time for him, but he said he's totally down to do it. And my band is called A Common Crown. We will be headlining the Millville Music Festival if you're in the southwestern Pennsylvania area at the VFW stage. So come check us out. We got 4 new songs in the can that we're working on, and hopefully we'll have new music out soon. If not this year, towards the end of the year, then next year. I'm really looking forward to the rest of this year. It's gonna be awesome. So yeah, if you're in Atlantic City, New Jersey this weekend, then come have a margarita with me. So that's my long list of plugs. We're good.
Do you gamble?
No, but I probably will a little bit.
Ooh,
I know Atlantic City pretty well. I was going to say, what do you want to do?
Probably just go hang out. We're gonna go lift at Attila's gym and then go walk the beach and kind of cook at home.
Tight.
Yeah.
I don't have plugs.
You got no plugs? Okay,
No.
Brandon, you got no plugs.
I am
Do you
going
have
to
a
be.
plug?
I'm going to be starting on another podcast with somebody else who wants to do something as well. So we might try to put it under
You're cheating on me.
No, we want to put it under your brand, your umbrella.
Oh, sick. Cool.
So yeah,
We'll have to talk about it.
That's a plug for a plug.
He hasn't even fucking talked to me about this yet. This is how I find out.
I'll talk to you tonight. I was like, I'll fucking bring it up.
This is how I find out, guys. All right. Yeah, I'm going to be streaming again in about an hour and a half to play some Elder Scrolls Online. I haven't been playing much video games because I have been feeling kind of sick lately. But yeah, I'm trying to get back into streaming and making it work. All right. Peace out, guys. Love you. Bye.